Hello friends, today we're going to be talking about how to buy cheap real estate. What if I told you that there is a fair amount of people that are making great money by buying cheap real estate? Wouldn't you want to know where to look or how to buy it? Well, by the end of this video, you'll know exactly where to look and how to secure this cheap real estate that will put you in great positions to make smart investment decisions and have great returns on your investment strategy. Have you ever wondered where the best deals are when it comes to real estate investing? Are you curious about the strategies that real estate investors use to buy properties at lower prices? Well, let's find out by first explaining what I do to find cheap real estate. Next, I'm going to cover one of the most important elements when it comes to finding cheap real estate. And finally, what strategies you can deploy to take advantage of this cheap real estate. If you're ready, let's go. So there really is cheap real estate out there, but how do you find it? Well, here's exactly what I do to find cheap real estate. I do three things. Number one, I will go on Zillow and I will just start looking at Zillow. And I know that seems so simple and anybody can do it, but it's true. You can go find properties that are listed at very low prices in some of the areas. I'm currently looking in the Midwest, everywhere from Missouri, Illinois, Ohio, Indiana. A lot of those areas, I'm finding some pretty good deals on pieces of property. And Zillow is a great way to do that because you can go to the specific area and you can also find comps or what other properties are selling for or what they're valued at. Another way is using off-market property software. This allows me to go in and find properties that might be in pre-foreclosure, foreclosure, or absentee owner. I can set up filters specific for the software. And the one that I really like is one called RealFlow. It does cost money every single month, but it's worth its weight in gold because you can find properties that aren't even on the market that other people might not be looking for as much because it's not listed on the MLS and isn't listed by a realtor, and you can negotiate directly with the homeowner. And finally, I like to use real estate agents. I know some people don't when it comes to real estate investing, but I've got a handful of realtors that are absolutely awesome that every day will send me deals that pop up and that I can utilize and go look to see if it fits in my cheap real estate investment strategies. And after I find the properties, I negotiate like crazy. When it comes to cheap real estate, the strategies that I'm utilizing that work really well for me, I'm looking to get properties that are 20 to 30% below the asking price. So what are some important elements to consider when you're looking at cheap real estate? Because there is a difference between cheap real estate and cheap real estate, right? I mean, some of them are just going to be absolute dives, but other ones might be properties that already have a renter in there renting the home. So the first thing I look at is the condition of the home. Now, obviously, when we're talking about cheap real estate, we're not talking about things being absolutely perfect. However, I have found some very cheap properties, as I mentioned, that actually have people living there. So I'm looking for homes that are move-in ready. I don't live in the Midwest, so to buy a property there and needing to fix it up or do things cosmetically just might not be in the mix for me to be able to go out there and do that. So I need something that is at least move-in ready or might just need some minor things done to it. And also, when I do find a home that is inexpensive, I got it under a good price, I always recommend getting an inspection. I just had a property about a month ago under contract that I had an inspection done on it. The inspection came back, and trust me, those things are worth their weight in gold because they go through everything. And he said the foundation had been slipped or moved. And last thing I wanted is get into a home that had foundational issues. So an inspection is also pretty crucial and important when you're getting cheap real estate. And another important element is location. And under location lies two important factors. Number one, is it in such a rural area that it's going to be difficult to sell or find a potential buyer? In some of the areas I'm looking, I'll look at the city, there's a cheap piece of real estate there, but it might be 30 minutes from a town that even has a gas station or a grocery store. And finding somebody there might be extremely difficult. The second thing about location is its crime. I've looked at some homes close to St. Louis, but there's some areas there that are riddled with crime, and I don't want anything to do with those areas because those can be problematic as well. Now understand, when you're looking to buy cheap real estate, you've got to think with the end in mind, right? So you're going to buy a piece of property, so you need to understand what strategy you're going to deploy in order to utilize for this cheap piece of property that you're going to buy. Because if you're just going in blind saying, I'm going to buy a piece of property and hope to turn around and sell it at some point down the road, that might not be the best strategy. You need to have a strategy in place, and that is going to help you to understand exactly what to do with it. It also gives you some purpose in going in and buying that property. So now that we've covered that basis, let's talk about some strategies. And there's actually quite a few strategies you can utilize with cheap real estate. The first one, obviously, is fix and flip. That one is pretty easy, right? You buy a piece of property, especially if you live there or if you have a good team of subcontractors that can go and fix things up. But if you buy a property at a low price and you go do some cosmetic things just to make it look nice, whether it's the lawn or painting a door or a new door, whatever it might be, or fixing up the kitchen or bathroom a little bit, as long as there's enough meat on the bones and money to be made, that is a great strategy and what a lot of people are doing. Wholesaling, right? That's a great one. That's being able to find a property at such a low price and then going out like on Facebook, which I've seen a lot of wholesalers utilize. They'll go to Facebook groups that are real estate groups and they'll say, listen, I've got this property. I'm willing to let it go at this price. And it's crazy. I know that sounds so simple, but I've seen people with 10 to hundreds of comments asking about the property. And I can't imagine that one of those 100 people aren't interested in buying it. Now, obviously you can do traditional renters. You buy the property at this low price and you turn around and you rent it out to somebody. Somebody's paying your mortgage while the property appreciates over time. It's a great tried and true strategy that still works to this day. Now, here's a very unique strategy that I utilize when I find cheap real estate property, and I call it cash flow flipping, right? Because I'm gonna make a lot of cash flow during the time and eventually going to flip it. So this is how it works. So as I mentioned, I'm going into the Midwest, I'm finding properties, I'm getting properties under contract that are maybe 20 to 30% below the asking price. And so I've got to put a lot of offers out there. But once I have it, I have a private money lender that is loaning me money to buy these properties outright for cash. That's why I can negotiate a lower price because I'm paying cash for it and I'm closing quickly within 30 to 45 days. Now they're going to charge me anywhere between 8 to 12%. I've got some right now that are about that 8, 9% range, which is fantastic. So I go in there and I buy this piece of property. Let's say it's listed at 70, I get it for $50,000. I borrow that money from a private money lender and I take that $50,000, I buy that piece of property. Now, if I'm at 9% of $50,000, that's $4,500 a year, which is a little less than $400 a month. I'm paying an interest-only payment to that individual, and he's in a good spot because he's in first position on this property, and it was listed at 70. I got it at 50. If I were not to make payments, he would own that property. He could probably turn around and sell it for 55, 60 pretty quickly and get all of his money back plus some. So I'm paying a little less than $400 a month for that private money on an interest-only loan. Then I'm going out and finding somebody who wants to rent to own this property for me, do a lease option. And I'm selling it to them at $70,000, and I'll put that they'll buy that from me 2 years down the road at $70,000. So already, because the purchase price I got for 50, I'm selling it for 70, there's money to be made there. And I'm renting it to them during that period. Now there is a rental credit that I'll credit maybe $100 a month towards their down payment. So over the course of 2 years, $100 a month, that's $2,400 that they can utilize, the buyer that's buying the property from me, towards their down payment. So $2,400. But because I'm receiving, say, $900 a month for this property, I am making $300 a month from what I have to pay the private money lender and what this individual is paying me minus out their rent credit. So I'm cash flowing every single month on this piece of property. Plus, with a rent to own or a lease option, they have to pay an option up front for the opportunity to buy that home at a certain price at a certain date down the road. And typically the option price is anywhere between 2 to 7%. So let's just say it was 2% of $70,000, that's $1,400. And they can also utilize that option money that they gave me towards their down payment. So this is a strategy for somebody maybe that cannot get a traditional loan, and it's a seller financing. So if they don't have good credit, if they don't have enough money for a down payment, it works really well. So play this out with me here. They've now paid me $900 a month at the end of the 2 years. They're buying that property at $70,000. I've credited $2,400 towards the down payment, plus they paid me $1,500 for the option price. That's close to $4,000 they can utilize for their down payment. And if they can get a traditional loan on it that's owner occupied at 3%, even 5% of $70,000 is $3,500, right? So they have enough money already baked into the money they gave me to purchase the home with a down payment. Now I get that $70,000 minus that $3,500, let's call it $66,500 I take that money, I pay off my private money person, $50,000, I pocket the money that I made from that scenario, the $3,500 I got up front and over the course of the loan. And then I'm able to also get the difference between the purchase price that I got it for and what I sold them for. So this is a fantastic strategy that I'm utilizing when I find cheap real estate. But I'd be interested in what strategies you've been using. Please comment below. Let's engage in a dialogue. And as always, I have a free gift for you. It's a short-term rental calculator. You put in the price, the income, the expenses, and it actually does all the work where it spits out to you whether it's a good deal or not. It's 100% free, no obligation, no questions asked. Just click on the link below, aaronsfreetraining.com. Once again, thanks for stopping by. Have an amazing day.